Hello, Cubs fans, and welcome to a brand new edition of Cubs on Tap. It was a series sweep, and for every win the Cubs got in this series, we've got a panelist tonight. I'm Ron Luce, joined by Tyler Edmonds and Mr. Nick Hudson. Gentlemen, happy Sunday evening to you guys, a little bit later than normal, but happy White Sox sweep weekend as well, gentlemen. How are we doing?
Oh, I'm great, man. I actually just got done finishing sweeping the crap off the doormat. That was the Chicago White Sox. Coming to our house, dirty shoes and all. They leave. We kick their ass out. And we just got done cleaning it up. It took us a minute. But I'm good, Ron. I'm good, Nick. It's good to see both you guys.
Likewise. Nick, how you doing, buddy?
Doing fantastic, gentlemen. It is good to see both of you as well. You know, when you play a pitiful franchise like the Chicago White Sox, you got to sweep them. It's what I asked for. It's what they gave us. So I'm doing well.
Ain't that the truth? And that is the episode title for today is Sweeping Up the Sox. So because as Tyler mentioned, as it was a late night, we had a little cleaning up to finish up. But speaking of cleaning up, I mean, let's just dive right into it. This was a fun series if you're a Chicago Cubs fan, right? I think we can all agree that in comparison to the Marlins series early in the week, which the Cubs still won the series, it was a lot closer, right? Obviously, Wednesday was a loss. The walk-off, I mean, the offense being non-existent. So really just one convincing win in that series. Every win was convincing in this series for the Cubs. 13-3 on Friday. Obviously, they follow that up with a 7-3 victory on Saturday, and then today taking care of business. 6-1, I believe, was the final score, if I remember.
6-2.
6-2. Sorry. Garbage time run.
I totally blocked it out of my memory. 6-2. I mean, these were all ass whoopings. And the Cubs took care of business, and that's exactly what they should have done, Nick, like you and I talked about on Thursday's show. They needed to go in. They needed to take care of business. And, Nick, they listened to you. They got aggressive early and often, and that's exactly what happened.
100%.
I mean, it never felt and I get it. People would say, oh, but it's 4 runs. It never felt close. Even today, yesterday, and even when it got close, there was never a moment in this entire series where I thought, oh, no. Oh man! Even when they got the lead to start off the game yesterday, it just never felt like, oh crap, here we go. Like there was never a nervous Tyler during any of these games at all. As far as, oh man, are they gonna be able to make the comeback? Every aspect of baseball was played well by this Cubs team. The entire series, like you guys have talked. Obviously, the offense was one. Great defense, great pitching, the bullpen, all of it. We were talking pre-show, minus the Julian Merriweather, which I don't even know if we should count it, but the Julian Merriweather garbage time run that he gave up in the 9th, the bullpen did not give up a run. Your starters went 5+. And from guys like Colin Ray, Matt Boyd, even Cade Horton, second start of his big league career, gave you everything, just every bit of it was great. Played well.
And to your point, Tyler, like the White Sox would score early, and then the Cubs would just come back. Like on Friday, 2 runs in the first inning, 6 runs in the next half. Like they just would put it on. And Miguel Vargas had a hell of a series. He could have taken over this entire series, but PCA was just a little bit better.
Could you imagine how much more embarrassing the performance would have been for the White Sox if not for Miguel Vargas this series? I mean, he was legitimately the only player that did anything that was worth a shit.
Yeah.
And that's coming from a White Sox team that has a Luis Robert who just 2 seasons ago we were talking about breakout superstar, hit damn near 40 home runs just a few seasons ago, was on everybody's radar to be a trade candidate at the trade deadlines. And I get it. I know White Sox fans don't want to hear this, but that's coming from a team that has that guy in the lineup that I think a lot of people probably are forgetting about anyways, just because of his lack of production. But anyways, yeah, it was just it was great to see.
And Tyler, to your point, I think what is more interesting even right now too is the state of where the White Sox are. When I think about the team, I think about the kids, right? You know, Chase Meadroth. They just called up Elko, who's been playing very, very well for them. Obviously, you know, there's still hype with guys like, you know, Colson Montgomery and a lot of, you know, the young pitchers. You've got all these good young catchers. Kyle Teal's doing really well. Caro has been great since they called him up. You have all these really good young players. It's like, as crazy as this is going to sound, in the national landscape, outside of the fact that he is amongst the top in stolen base leaders in Major League Baseball, Luis Robert has like been largely forgotten on the national stage.
Oh yeah.
And when people now think White Sox, it's all these young kids and it's this rebuild 7.0 or whatever the fuck they want to call it now. We'll ask the Sox on Tap guys because they're keeping tallies. It's not Luis Robert, which is crazy because, like you said, Tyler, this was a guy that 2 years ago was the number one threat in your lineup. And then on Sunday, he's not able to make a play on what becomes a triple for PCA to open up the scoring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe, who knows, maybe. And I don't want to turn this into just us crapping on the White Sox, even though we just crapped on the White Sox for 3 games.
It 100% will be, though. It's okay.
But it just, it sucks to see because you really thought, and who knows, maybe it's a case of he hates where he's at. Maybe because he was in that window with the White Sox teams that were supposedly in that White Sox window that obviously has closed, and it closed fast. And maybe it's just one of those things. It's a classic case of he hates where he's at and just the environment sucks, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, man, the difference a year can make, or a year and or maybe a year and a half. I don't know. It's just, it's crazy to see.
It is crazy to see. But speaking of center fielders that we love having here.
Yes, we do.
Nick, I have to give you credit, my man, because we started the season off the way we always do at Cubs on Tap, with bold predictions. And you came in big dick swinging and we're like, chest out, PCA is going to be an all-star.
Yep.
Brother, you might have undersold PCA because
I did say premier player, I believe.
He might be the NL MVP.
Yeah.
He's keeping shit up right now. I mean, how about a series for Pete Crow Armstrong? We were talking about it beforehand as we were kind of collecting our thoughts for the show. Not only did he have 8 hits in this series, he scored 10 runs, which was more than the White Sox scored in the whole series as a team. He single-handedly just scored, like him touching home plate 10 times in this series. And sure, had a misplay, but overall had an unbelievable series. Arguably really carrying the Cubs. I mean, he was the single-handedly the most dangerous player in the lineup all 3 days over the weekend. And Nick, this is something that, we talked about at nauseum on Thursday, and dare I say, I think PCA exceeded expectation in this series, being the guy to carry them to the whole game.
Oh yeah, he threw the team on his back. He is becoming that player, that premier player that you can count on when your offensive powerhouses like Tucker are down. He picks up the lineup. The speed kills completely. Even he said in the postgame that chaos on the base pass. He loves to cause it. And man, does that put pressure on the opposing team when you have that. And even when you have speed like he has for routine ground balls, you just see fielders struggle with it because it's in their head that they have to rush their mechanics. They can't do what they normally do and take that extra moment. But yeah, he is turning into quite the player. And I think you're right. I think he's exceeding my own expectations of an all-star. He is becoming the face of the Chicago Cubs.
He really is. And Tyler, I got some numbers here to back that up.
Back it up.
As of today, on this roster, we are going to exclude Carson Kelly just because of the number of games played with the catchers, right? Obviously, they've been alternating. He's still well above a 1,000 OPS. There is only one player on the team right now with above a 900 OPS. And it ain't Kyle Tucker. It ain't Seiya Suzuki. And it ain't Michael Busch, who all are very good.
Yeah.
897, 811, 818, respectively, for those three names. It ain't Dansby Swanson, who's gotten all the way up to a 787 OPS. Another guy who had a very good series. P. Crow Armstrong batting 290 with a 910 OPS.
Love to see it. Could you imagine what the conversation would be right now if, what was it? When was the Dodgers series at LA? The Sunday night game, was that three or 4 weeks ago, whenever it was. That I want to say that was the date that the rumors of the PCA extension and then turning down $75 million. Could you imagine had he signed that $75 million deal? Like that face right there, Ron. That's exactly what we're like. Holy crap, that guy took that. Holy,
that would have been like Ronald Acuna level.
Yes,
like,
yes, it would. Yes, it would. We all talked about it preseason into the show, the same show, Nick, that with the All-Star prediction. We said there's got to be another guy with Kyle Tucker to carry this team in the playoffs. And that assumption was that Kyle Tucker was going to be the guy that had, the highest WAR on the team. And then we needed another guy to go with him, when now it's almost been like, somebody needs to hang with PCA as good. He's got a 2.9 WAR going into today. Shohei Ohtani only has a 2.5 or had a 2.5 before today. I believe Tatis has a little bit over a 3. I know Judge, he's on a different level right now because he's freaking Barry Bonds 2.0. But wow, what a it's surprising. It really is, because I didn't think he was going to I didn't expect it to be. I didn't expect him to come out of the gate this hot, but he took that last month from last season and he has just freaking, to say he's ran with it is an understatement, because he has sprinted with it. Just, it's crazy. It's crazy, but it's great to see. It's great to see. But yeah, Nick, I think your prediction is going to be right about the All-Star. I think he's going to cruise right on in easy. Like, I don't see, I really don't. I think the only other guy close with him right now is Jung Ho Lee with San Francisco, but
yeah,
I just don't see it. I just don't see him not taking that spot.
Yeah, 100%. And I did say before, PCA work on bunting. You could just throw that away, because just keep doing what you're doing. He hasn't been bunting. He doesn't need to bunt.
And that play, and even that play, what was it yesterday? The play with the sun, and okay, come on, it's Wrigley. Every single outfielder that's played, at least everybody that's played for the Cubs in the outfield, has had that moment happen to them at least once in their career. Maybe that was the one time, but it's Wrigley. It's going to happen. So
yeah,
that wasn't a bonehead play. Like, oh my gosh, what were you thinking? Because this guy, PCA, outruns the baseball, and I've never seen any as good as Griffey was. I was fortunate enough to see Griffey play in his prime before the Cincinnati days and all that. Cincinnati makes me throw up when I say it. This guy outruns the baseball. Like, he knows where it's going to be. But it's crazy. You guys know. You guys watch the games. We all keep up. It's so impressive. It's so impressive to see that. And it's just another thing to add to the list of the things that PCA does that just wows all of us. I think he is, to make a comparison to another former Cub who is having a resurgent right now in Javi Baez. He's like a Javi Baez 2.0 as far as his ability on the field, offensively, defensively. I think he takes better at ABs than Javi Baez. No disrespect to Javi Baez, but he plays the game in that same fashion, that same way. He has fun, and he does not care. in the sense that he does not care if if it pisses you off or not the way he plays. And that is just, it is awesome to see.
PCA is in my opinion, there's a lot of great players in baseball, right? We all know that. There's a lot of fantastic players all over the place, right? Every team's got them. There's very few players in baseball, though, that are true 5-tool guys, right? PCA is one of those in every sense of the word, right? I think a lot of people were always wondering, like, yeah, well, he can definitely be a 4, tool guy for sure, but like, is the power ever going to come, or is he going to hit for a high enough average? He's doing both of those right now. He's hitting for power.
Yeah.
He's hitting for average. He's slugging. He's taking walks when he needs to, but when you can cause chaos the way he does on the base paths, it's better for him almost to put the ball in play sometimes. And on top of that, the speed, the defense, he's got it all when it comes to being a complete baseball player. And there's so few guys like that. And you can just tell the difference, right, when they're on the field, because they are so much better than everybody else. You guys were 100% correct. And Hank said it here, PCA, third in Major League Baseball in WAR. Only Tatis and homeboy Judge are higher than that. PCA runs like Kenny Lofton into the outfield, is what Hank says here. It's something special. Joey says here, sup boys. I remember we talked about the Braves, the White Sox, how they signed some of the younger guys earlier. Steele's wanting the Cubs to get one. Very much in relation to what we said right about PCA and what it would have been like there.
Just speaking of PCA for a second again.
Yeah.
And you were talking about 5-tool players. I think you could argue he's one of the current players. How many 5-tool players are there currently in the MLB? We talk about how great Shohei Ohtani is, but he doesn't play the field. Mm-hmm. So technically you could say I'm not downgrading Shohei, but it's almost like you got to put an asterisk by him, because is he really a 5-tool player since he doesn't play the outfield? I know he pitches when he's healthy and all that kind of stuff. Aaron Judge, he's not fast. You could say maybe Fernando Tatis, PCA, maybe Ronald Acuna when he comes back. We'll see
when he's fully healthy. Yeah.
But after that, there's not many actual current 5-tool players in the MLB.
There's a lot of 4-tool guys.
There's a lot of 4-tool players.
And that's exactly which, don't get me wrong. You can ask every single, and Joey's got a good one here.
Well, you could say Corbin Carroll, but he doesn't have the best arm.
That's true. He doesn't have the PCA arm or the Tatis arm.
No.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, it's certainly not a shot at play. Like, everybody in baseball will kill for 4-tool guys, up and down the line. But it's true. Like, it's not even so much the 5-tool in the sense of like they're just supreme. It's just the 5-tool, and it's just rare, because a lot of guys are typically either really good hitters and they don't run, or they're really good hitters and fielders and they don't run, or they're really good runners and defenders, but maybe they don't have the total package in terms of hitting. Like, there's always some little like weakness where you could say, well, he's probably more of a 4-tool guy than he is a 5-tool. And they're just so few and far between.
With Shohei and Judge, like we talked about pre-show, they are so outstanding beyond measure at what they do now, that 5th tool, as far as like with Judge, with the speed, it doesn't matter. Same thing with Shohei. Shohei has the speed, but as far as him not playing the field, he's obviously shown it doesn't matter.
Right.
So we're not sitting here trying to say, oh, Shohei and Judge aren't as good as Tatis or PCA.
It's just the rareness of 5-tool players. It's just appreciating the guys in baseball that are kind of good at everything, because it's really hard to be good at everything. Yeah, I mean, that's just genuinely what it is, and it's going to be a lot of fun to see here. Fake ball coach saying he has to keep it up for another 2 years to be legit. I agree with that, right? Like, it's great to have one really great season for a player, and we see it time and time again in baseball. It's hard to do it consistently over 4 and 5, and the guys that do it for 15 years, that's why they go in the Hall of Fame, because it's so few and far between that guys can keep up the pace. But to see him start, registering and kind of being, at least in that echelon of conversation of realizing that potential, it's hard not to get excited. And Big
for
Wilco
sure.
says here, he says tone it down a little bit.
Hey,
Lots of
It's
baseball
hard.
left.
It's hard to tone it down
It
right
is.
now. But
It is hard.
I understand. But it's
And
just,
Big Wilco says it too. He says he also loves PCA.
it's just, it's so,
It's
even though,
hard.
and I get it again, it's the White Sox, but just this weekend, like you were saying, Nick, it's just so 8 hits. And again, it's the White Sox, but still just everything awesome about PCA and other players as well just was showcased this weekend, man. And it was
chef's kiss. Joey follows that up, just kind of finishing this out as well. Says even Kyle Tucker is kind of like a 3-tool A+ guy with like 2-tool kind of B player, which I agree. Which again, that is what a lot of guys in baseball are, right? So it's it's one of those things, but you'll love to see it. And I hope Hank is correct here. He says, "Thank you, New York Mets. PCA is going to be their Lou Brock." For any Cubs fan, you know how that one stings. It would be nice, right? It'd be nice to be on the other side of the Lou Brock conversation or that level of a conversation for once, in forever. But gentlemen, obviously, PCA was a huge headline in this series. We've seen everything else that happened. Obviously, it was a great offensive performance in general. Dansby Swanson had a really strong series. Kyle Tucker had some important hits. You can still tell there's some frustration there with his approach. But overall, he gave you some production. Say Suzuki had a pretty solid series overall. Michael Busch had a nice day, especially today.
Yep.
So there was a lot of really Nico as well had a really, really good series. So this was to me also just an offensive get right series for them because you still have a very reasonable part of the schedule coming up now, really for the rest of the month, where keeping this momentum going is important because it's 3 more with Miami starting on Monday, which we'll talk about toward the end of the show. 3 with the Reds in Cincy, which we all know that's also just under the radar. I hope that's the series that Ian Happ comes back because we all know it's Ian Cincinnati.
Yep.
I will be there Saturday.
You will be there. I knew that. I knew that was coming up. So, that's a big series. And then they come back and you got the even magically worse than the White Sox Rockies and then the Reds again. So this is the stretch where the Cubs can really, kind of keep their foot on the gas and keep some things going. I do want to bring light, though, to the pitching because I know we kind of graced over it very quickly. Again, yes, it's the White Sox, but these are still Major League Baseball players. You still got to go out and take care of business. For Cade Horton to do what he did hey, Cade Horton, your first 2 career games in Major League Baseball, your first one's going to come against the loaded New York Mets in their own ballpark. Oh, and your second one's going to come on a Friday 1:20 when the wind's howling out to center field. And any ball you let up in the air might leave the ballpark. Good luck. And he did great.
Yep.
He was awesome. Matthew Boyd continues to just be this, maybe one of the most under the radar signings in baseball right now.
Hand up. He has proven me wrong.
But doesn't it feel good to be wrong when it's for the good of the Cubs?
I even told you guys. I hope that I'm raising my hand saying I was wrong, you guys were right, and it's great to see. It really is. I
always hang my hat on that. If I'm going to be negative about the Chicago Cubs, I want to be wrong. I do genuinely. And then Colin Ray. Yeah. Remember all the backlash, guys, that the Colin Ray signing generated? Obviously, none of us thought he was going to be a 2.38 ERA pitcher stepping in for Justin Steele after he went down for the year. Nobody expected this.
No.
But even if he was a 3.30 ERA guy and giving you a chance every day, you'd be happy. He's doing more than that.
He is.
He's giving you quality outing after quality outing. Maybe more than ever, it feels like the depth additions that the Cubs made have genuinely reaped the benefit of, hey, we're going to, it's a late signing, but Colin Ray's going to get $5-7 million from us because he's a high hot commodity and he can do both. And what happens if one of our starters gets hurt? Bang, Justin Steele's done for the year. Well, shit, Colin Ray, get your booty in the rotation. Have fun. You get to do it the whole year. Yep. He's done a really, really good job. So again, not necessarily saying because there are some other important topics we certainly need to talk about. And I want to give you guys, some closing thoughts for the series. We're obviously not done talking yet, but just other things I wanted to bring to attention because I think, and then you mentioned, right, the bullpen. Until Julia Merriweather gave up a garbage time run, the bullpen was spectacular and continues to be really, really good. And Ryan Presley pitched the 7th inning on Sunday, but guess what? He looked great doing it. So I'm okay with guys moving around if it means, getting guys right and when guys are figuring shit out. And like Daniel Palencia is becoming one of the most reliable bullpen arms that the Cubs have. That wasn't on my 2025 bingo card, but here we are. So just huge for them. But with that in mind, gentlemen, I do want to kind of leave you for some final remarks regarding the White Sox series because there are some other notes, one of which that came up during the series in a way, and one that is very much running rampant through Cubs social media as well that we certainly need to talk about. So, Nick, final thoughts on the Cubs sweeping the White Sox before we get to some newsworthy things.
Yeah, I mean, you put it best. It's the part of the schedule that you got to take advantage of for sure. And they went out and they did that. And I did ask for a sweep. It might have been a big ask, but they did it, and they even did it on a Sunday, which was really fun.
No Sunday carries.
Let's go on a Sunday. So that was awesome. But one thing that I really want to point out is good teams capitalize on mistakes. Boy, did the White Sox make a lot of defensive mistakes out there. And that was their downfall, really, because the Cubs they're a team that when they see blood in the water, that they pounce. And that's what I like about this team this year is they don't let those things just go. Those leadoff walks, they capitalize on them. They put their foot on their throat, these teams. And that is a big difference from last year where they were kind of like, they were good, but very inconsistent. And at times they couldn't finish it off. And it's just been a breath of fresh air, especially this series. And I'm hoping that they can carry the momentum into Miami. And then, as you say, to the Reds and then to the god-awful Rockies and take advantage of those teams that are really struggling and build on it. And like you said, this was an offensive get-right series for them. And that's
Definitely
what they need. They're a great offense. And this just gives them even more, confidence in themselves.
You mentioned the Cubs taking advantage. I think today was a great example of that. PCA's triple to ignite the offense right out of the jump. And then, Kyle Tucker rolls over on a ball and they can't get the run scored, but Seiya Suzuki puts one deep in the left field and PCA scores easily. And you get a quick run. You actually score first for the first time in this series, even though they obviously come away with the sweep. Tyler, your additional final thoughts for this one?
I'm just going to sing about the bullpen once again. One run from Merriweather. That was the only run that maybe we don't even count. One walk from the bullpen the entire series. I watched the game today, but listened to it on the I had the 670 the score audio feed on it. And Pat Hughes continuously said, with all these leads, with the lead we had today, he was constantly saying, if the White Sox are going to make a comeback, let them earn it. Meaning, throw strikes, just kept saying that and repeating it over and over. And it's so true. And this series, they did that. Through strikes. You throw strikes. I know you guys would agree. I would rather watch, if we're going to blow a game, if we're going to blow a lead or whatever, I'd rather it be from guys throwing strikes, giving up hits, than sitting there watching them walk the park. Leadoff walk. And then, another walk. You get two guys on with less than 2 outs, and you're like, crap, here we go. And I would rather, but they didn't do that. They threw strikes the whole series. And look, good things happen. But yeah, great to see from the bullpen.
Definitely. I will. If you're going to sing the praises of the bullpen, I will do the same about the starting rotation again. And I think the level of disdain for guys like Jameson Taillon right now, going 6 and giving you a quality start, is a little mind-boggling to me. If I'm being brutally honest, this starting rotation is doing everything you could ask them to do, and like Matthew Boyd hasn't walked anybody since like the beginning of May. Like I think his last walk came in the month of April. Genuinely. It's something stupid like that. Like it's unbelievable. He's not walking people. Jameson Tylen's going out there and giving you 6 really good innings. Colin Ray's giving you 6 innings. Cade Horton's pitching really well, even if it's only 5 innings. Like, these guys are doing what needs to be done to win games. You are without your 2 best starting pitchers, and you are first in the NL Central more than halfway through the month of May. Hell the fuck yeah. And those guys need love, and they certainly need to be appreciated. A couple quick comments here. Joey just said, I'm just so happy because 70% of the fan base talked all May about how PCA can't hit. Luis Roberts is better. True. And then we all quickly
wrong again. It's about like just a couple years ago when the conversation was, oh, which Chicago team has the better shortstop? Tim Anderson or Javi Baez? And Javi Baez obviously, made all the White Sox fans look like idiots. And PCA's done it again. So love to see it.
Again, absolutely. You love to see it. And this is from Fake Brawl Coach, says, by the way, you guys do a great job. Nothing personal. Keep up the great work. Of course, we love the banter with the comment section, even if it is confrontational sometimes, because that makes for good stuff. Fake Ball Coach also says here, watching the replay, the Brujan PCA play was so awesome. Speed kills. Yes,
that was
it does. Speaking of speed, Vidal Brujan today was playing third base. Well, there's third base chatter in the world of Cubs baseball. I know Jay's been chomping at the bit in the comment section to talk about this one. But yes, Matt Shaw was not in the lineup on Sunday for the Iowa Cubs. After the game, Craig Counsell said they are, quote unquote, looking into and considering bringing him up. That's coach speak for he's coming up, folks, in case you weren't sure. And at this point, we're just awaiting the official transaction. So it sounds like Matt Shaw's joining the team in Miami to come back and play third base. He was really, really good. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me. That's poor preparation on my part. I will take full responsibility for that. But he's been fantastic. He's been hitting again. He's been getting hot. He's been hitting in big moments. And
2 home runs the other night?
Yeah, a couple home runs the other day. A lot of RBI hits. I know that for sure. He just needs to come back into this lineup at this point. He doesn't need to be Superman. He just needs to come in, and if he hits 250 and he's like a 750 OPS player, that is more than spectacular. And they will be just fine as long as he can continue to give them solid third base defense as well. Gentlemen, I mean, what are your guys' reactions to the Matt Shaw news? Are we surprised? Are we what's kind of the temperature in the room here about Matt Shaw rejoining the team, halfway through May after spending some time down in Des Moines, Iowa?
I'm not surprised. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nick.
Oh no, I'm really excited, and I think that it has a lot to do with the platoon at third base. No one's really stealing that spot. If John Birdie were to perform really well, and you just have that feeling of, well, you can't take him out of there, or Vidal Brujan, oh, you can't take him out of there, Nicky Lopez, you can't take him out of there, but there's none of them are doing that. So Matt Shaw has much more upside in the fact that is your prospect, and now that he is ready to come back up, you're not going to destroy his confidence by putting him back in a major league lineup. I'm excited for it. I hope that it's a spark to him to feel like they believe in me again to be doing this. And like you said, don't be Superman. Just go out there, be consistent. Just have good plate appearances, and things will go your way. So I'm overall just really excited about the move.
Tyler, you were saying, go ahead.
I wasn't surprised either, just because, this offseason, they said it without actually saying it. They have put a lot into Matt Shaw being the guy at third base. And like you said, Nick, there's not one option currently right now whose bat is so hot that this lineup would just kill if they left the lineup. So, and like you said, Ron, Matt Shaw doesn't have to do a whole lot. We've already got Superman. We've talked about him for the last, we've talked about him for 25 minutes. And hell, we can talk about him for 25 more minutes, but I'm just kidding. But we've already got that. You don't have to worry about that. Just come up, be yourself, and his glove. I'm confident in his glove. He's made so many plays. Whether I saw it live at the field or just watching it on TV, he's made so many great plays to to easily say, and I know, Ron, you said Nicky Lopez, he has a great glove as well. I just think Matt Shaw's, I feel like, is just as good. He just has that power threat that none of the other guys possess. And
Definitely.
if he can do that and just, it felt like when he first came up, we talked about it. It felt like when he first came up, he was trying to hit the 5-6 run home run when, to be the hero of the game. Just don't do that. Be yourself, be Matt Shaw. And I believe, Nick, you talked about it before the show. Capitalize with your speed as well. But yeah, I'm not surprised at all.
Not surprised indeed. I tend to agree. Hank said this much earlier in the comment section, but it 100% applies as we're talking about this. He says, it's funny how good things happen when you actually play the kids. He's enjoying watching PCA, Mo Baller, Horton, etc. Looks like we're going to get a dose of Matt Shaw as a part of that as well. And granted, I think we all kind of know that Moises Ballesteros probably goes back to Iowa once Ian Happ returns. Once Shota Imanaga returns, Cade Horton probably does the same. But it's the point of they come up, they get that time, they get that seasoning, and that's kind of what happened with Matt Shaw. There was some video out there of, comparing his earlier season at bats before he was sent down to more recently. He's kind of eliminated the leg kick a little bit. It's more of just a quick step now. Maybe that helps with his timing a little bit, right? Like it's the purpose of going down and making those adjustments. And that's the point for these young guys. If they're going to come up and contribute and be a part of a playoff run, kind of what we saw with Jordan Wicks in 2023, kind of what we saw late last year with some of the guys that came up and contributed. This is meaningful experience for those guys because not only are you coming up and playing competitive baseball, but you're also coming up and learning what you need to get better at to stick in the major leagues for a long time. And there's nothing wrong with a guy going up and down and up and down. I think that's good for players' developments. And I feel the same way about another sport, in the sport of hockey, because the Blackhawks did that a lot with players this year too. Let them come up for a cup of coffee, quickly find out what they need to work on, tell them to go work on it back down in Rockford, come back up and do the same thing and get better. As long as these guys can go back to Iowa and then they come back and they're better than when they went down, that means the Cubs developmental train is on the right path. And it also means that they're going to be able to develop these guys into meaningful pieces, whether that's here or somewhere else via trade, to, again, improve your ball club at the end of the day. And that's exactly, I think, what we all want to see. So I love seeing all of that. There are a couple more comments here as well over the course of the discussion. This was from a little bit earlier. He says, so true, Joey. So much talk from them about how shitty PCA is. Seeing them all have to admit he's a star is awesome. As Joey said, we bathe in Shy Sox fan. Mike's tears. Yeah, those... God, the tweets of him saying PCA is ruining my life are some of my most favorite things in the world right now. It seems like he's quieter with the leg kick too. Joey and I were on the same page there. Tom said here, I'm sick of people acting like Nicky Lopez is our best option. He has 1 hit and 24 at-bats. He needs to go. He has a good glove. I agree. There's not much there with the bat. That's why Matt Shaw is coming back. But if I had to say the 9 spot is dead, who do I want? Birdie, Lopez, or Brujan? Probably more often than not Lopez for the defense. Although, again, it was good to, Nick, you said it was good to see Brujan, kind of come out and have a good series and put some things together, especially when, he's kind of had a really rough start to the year for a variety of reasons. I think ball coach said here, Teddy makes a great point. Shaw's defense will get him by. The power will make him the difference. 100% agree. Tom said here, top prospects come up making a big impact would be really reminiscent of those 25 to 15, 16 teams. Yeah, I don't want to compare those teams because then people start getting irrational with their thoughts and opinions, but that's neither here nor there. Not that that's bad, Tom. I completely agree. It's fun. I will say it mirrors the fun of those 15, 16 teams, but it's, in my opinion, it's very much apple to oranges with this team because, there was no Kyle Tucker already on the roster when, KB and all those guys were coming up. Rizzo was here, but, not a shot at Riz, but Riz was never Kyle Tucker in terms of ceiling as an offensive player. Yes. And as Jay says here, you can also catch this report written up by our good man, Mr. Bobby Foster over at ontapsportsnet.com. The Cubs are also rumored and linked to Ryan McMahon of the Colorado Rockies as a player they might kick the tires on. So again, Matt Shaw doesn't have to be the guy, right? There's options, but if he is the guy, then rather than having to go out and trade for a third baseman, you can use assets to go get a starting pitcher, maybe another bullpen arm, and go get pieces that I think would be more impactful long term for the Cubs over the course of a full season. Matt Shaw's coming back. Miami's on the horizon. To bridge our gap to that Miami series, we have to talk about a South Florida native. Chris Chelios, he's not the South Florida native. He's a Chicago native. Sang the 7th inning stretch and gave a soliloquy of sorts to a South Florida native who was a Chicago Cub. Ironically, played a corner infield spot. We were talking heavily about third base. Played the other one over, I think that's called first base. Anthony Rizzo. We got some love from Chelios saying there might be the R word first, and not the bad R word. Nobody spin it. The retirement word was thrown out, and Riz supposedly reposted it and gave it some love. Do we think Anthony Rizzo's retiring? And do you think there's a one-day contract waiting for him with the Cubs to do so as a Chicago Cub?
If he hangs it up right now, he has nothing left to prove. He doesn't. He just became a father. I mean, he doesn't have to buy a drink for the rest of his life when he comes to Chicago. But with that being said, you can never say never, because I mean, we just don't know. Maybe he's taking this time to let his back heal, because I know he's had a history of back injuries. Who knows? Maybe he's taking time to let his back heal. And maybe he feels like he has one more run at it. He sees guys like right now, you've got a Justin Turner who's still sticking around. You've had guys in the past like Hosmer, and look at his Jason Hayward. He's still playing with the Padres. I just won't believe it until it actually happens. But it's funny that this happened. Because I watched it and I was just like, wait a minute, what does this guy know? But just a fun story real quick to kind of I mean, it's perfect timing you did this, Ron. This baseball, to most people, is just a Major League Baseball. But this ball, and I swear to God, sorry, but I just told my wife this morning. This was 7 years ago today. There's a date on this ball. 5/18/2018. This was Cincinnati, which is crazy because they're playing in Cincinnati this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
My wife, she was my girlfriend at the time. Very first baseball game she's ever been to, ever. We went to Cincinnati, hour and a half rain delay. We stuck around. We're watching the game. Nobody's around us. She knew I was a big Anthony Rizzo fan. Hell, we named our dog after him. And we're sitting there watching him bat, and she's joking with me about Anthony Rizzo, like, oh my gosh, look at his legs. Oh, wow. It just kept going on. And in the middle of the bat, foul ball, holy crap, holy crap, holy crap, bam, got this ball. Been to 100 games before that game.
Mm-hmm.
Never even came close to catching a foul ball. Her first game, we catch an Anthony Rizzo foul ball. Today is May 18th, 2025, and this was May 18th, 2018, the same day that his retirement got teased at Wrigley.
Wow. Talk about full circle. How about them apples?
The romance of baseball, it's real.
It is real. It is real. Nick, I have nothing to add to that. I don't know if you do.
I have nothing to add to that either. That's unbelievable. All I will say is I'm not going to believe it until I hear it as well. Mm-hmm. But if he does, he's had a hell of a career, and there'd be no issue.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. I will note this: Chris Chelios is very good friends with a lot of current and former Chicago athletes, because he is a hometowner, and obviously he was an athlete in the city, and they're all very well connected. And he's a big Cubs fan; that's very well documented. Would not be surprised. I'm sure him and Rizzo are on a texting basis. So again, I won't believe anything until it's said from the horse's mouth. But
I mean, again, though, I would kill to just one more time see him in pinstripes just to come up to bat to hear his song one more time.
Boom, 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 boom.
I mean, we saw it with the Yankees uniform, but it's not the same. It's not the same. It doesn't hit different. It doesn't hit the same.
It does not. It does not. Tom says here he still believes Rizzo has some real juice to play in Major League Baseball. But if it is time for him to retire, he supports it. I totally agree with that as well. He joked 1-day contract, $10 million. All for that one. Yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens there when it's all said and done. Gentlemen, we're going to get to our final thoughts of the episode. I'll take mine first because I'm going to help out a friend of ours in the comment section here. And Fake Paul Coach asks for a little synopsis on Ryan McMahon. Honestly, I'll agree with Joey because I think Joey had the right comment here. If Shaw is even serviceable, don't waste assets on McMahon. I'm making a mess over here. Pitching. I completely agree because here's Ryan McMahon's numbers. Again, a very good baseball player. Plays third. He can kind of play all around the diamond. He played a little second, I know, in his career. I'm sure he could play short in a pinch. More second and third base kind of guy. Plays a lot of games. I mean, he's played 45 games already this year. Pretty much every season since 2020, he's played at least 150 games. And minusing that 100, the 50 whatever game season in 2020, had 141 games played in 19, 91 games played in 18 when he really started to kind of settle in as a regular. So this guy's a bit of an Iron Man. He's wildly consistent. Typically anywhere between 22 and 32 doubles, typically between 20 and 25 home runs, typically between 65 and 85 RBIs, and you're looking at about a 744 career OPS. I mean, he's a very good baseball player. I don't know if he's the missing piece that the Cubs would need. I tend to agree with Joey. I think if Matt Shaw is serviceable and can be a 744 OPS player, I'm happy with him there doing what he's doing and going out and using, again, assets toward pitching, especially starting pitching, because Lord knows one more injury and then shit gets kind of weird from here, right? It's already bad enough that your two big horses are already down. So it'll be really, really interesting to kind of just see what happens from there. But that's the Ryan McMahon story for those that are not familiar with Ryan McMahon. Again, very good baseball player. Like, this is a guy that I would not be upset if he was a Chicago Cub. I just don't know if it's worth burning the assets that it could potentially take to get him when you're probably going to need some of those assets to go and acquire a starting pitcher. And I'll be brutally honest, and I might open up a can of worms here. So I'm going to get to the comments section really quick here. Joey says 1-day contract the day before Hap is activated, more baller down, Rizzo in the lineup. He will call off work to hear the song. You and me both, brother. You and me both. Tom says McMahon would be useful, to be honest. He could fill the backup infielder spot, take over for Birdie. True, but again, he says, but yeah, probably would take more than what he would be comfortable with. And I would tend to agree with that as well. And then Hank says he'll be watching possible future pitching help for the Cubs tomorrow with Cabrera on the mound. Yes, from Miami. He is certainly a guy. You know who else is a guy that the Cubs could really go out and take a big swing and go get?
Outfield or third baseman?
No. Oh, no.
I like this. I like this game.
The starting pitcher.
The starting pitcher.
All the chatter in the world right now. Go give the farm. Go send Ballesteros and Casey and Alcantara and somebody else to Pittsburgh. I don't give a shit. Get Paul Skeens.
I was just talking to my brother, my older brother, about this just a few hours ago. We were at our high school district baseball tournament started. That's exactly what does a package for him even start with?
Everything. The farm.
Everything.
The farm.
A key to the city. Pittsburgh, you own the key to Chicago.
That's so sad.
It's worth it.
So how sad is it, though, that we would have never thought of you. I would have never even thought about you asking that question with Paul Skeens at the beginning of this season. Never would have even thought that would even be a conversation. And of course, it will be a conversation. It'll be a conversation leading up to the trade deadline. I don't think he gets traded this year, but just the fact that that's already that's already in the mill, that's already working its way. And it's what's worse,
Not good.
being a Pirates fan, a White Sox fan, or a Rockies fan? Because at least with the White Sox and the Rockies, and I asked Chef Nugget, which you guys should give him a follow, just because he has a lot of good, he posts a lot of good stuff, and he has, well, you guys know, but because at least with the Rockies and the White Sox, you know that the season's going to be crap. With the Pirates, you at least saw that starting rotation and thought, man, we may have a shot, and it's just been to the point where now, Ron, you're bringing up trading for Paul Skeens.
And I'm only bringing it up because people online were bringing it up.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the only reason I brought it up.
Oh, man.
Yeah. That's got to be painful.
But that feels ridiculous. Like, does a team honestly put together a package that Pittsburgh would be accepting of?
I don't
like. What do you need?
They would do
top
that.
10 prospects in a good
sad
farm.
Thing is, Pittsburgh would do that, and when they do, if they were to do that, every single body in that front office should be fired. Just the way that they've handled a 1-1 sure thing mainstream media guy, has the girl, just all of it, and has just let it just splat in their face.
Yep.
I'm sure Andrew McCutchen probably calls him on the side after games, and he's just like, dude, get out of here when you can.
Yeah.
Just leave.
It's
Tom
just
says
crazy.
here it would benefit Pittsburgh so much if they traded Skeens. His timeline is nowhere close to the Pirates, and they lost most of the games that he pitches in.
The sad thing is though about that Tamanadu is it would not benefit Pittsburgh because they would figure out a way to screw it up. It's like when they traded Garrett Cole, when they traded Tyler Glasnow, and all those guys. They just nothing happened after that. They just they would what they would probably end up doing is they would trade Skeens away for 8 prospects, and they may be B-level prospects at best, and it may look at the beginning, oh man, we got 8 guys, and none of them are going to come even close to what Paul Skeens is.
I think this is interesting from Hank. He says the Pirates would want PCA and Horton. And I
no.
But if you're Pittsburgh,
Ryan, no.
I'm not saying I would do it, but I'm saying if you're Pittsburgh, that's 100% where they
for sure.
Yeah.
You go, well, you have a potential MVP in center field. That guy would look really nice in Pittsburgh.
Because you also got,
and at that point, Jed goes, Ben, because I think Ben Charrington is the GM in Pittsburgh right now. You go, Ben, I don't know what legal or illegal shit you've been smoking over there in Pittsburgh.
He's just drinking.
But relax.
In Pittsburgh.
Yeah, but relax. I know you're drinking straight out of the Allegheny, but relax. And then, then it begs the question: is Cade Horton a part of that package? Maybe. Is it somebody more down the road, like a Nizier Mule or somebody like that?
The sad thing that Pittsburgh probably has in the back of their mind, and it's a sad thing that you've got to consider with all these young pitchers, especially, is they're probably thinking, eventually, at some point, you hate to say it, but Paul Skeens will probably have to have some type of operation, and they're probably thinking that in their head. As far as that's the reason, there you go. That's the reason that they're not going to offer him, a big, fat, massive deal, but it's just, they're thinking that in the back of their head anyways. And so again, it wouldn't shock me if they traded him for a bunch of B-level prospects at best down the road. I just don't think he gets traded this season, but it's crazy, Ron. It's crazy that you asked that because here we are now. And
yeah. Sorry to open that can of worms.
No, you're good, man. It's fun.
Open a can. A couple of quick comments that I think are fair here. Jay says Sandy Alcantara, when we mentioned them trading for a starting pitcher.
Sandy's been kind of,
I don't want to say
been kind of a disappointment. Yeah.
I will say there's a guy out there that not to go to. I know everybody wants to talk about the Twins pitchers. The Twins just won a 13-game win.
13 in a row. I didn't even realize that.
Pablo Lopez, Joe Ron, they're not going anywhere because they know they've got a shot in that division. What about a oh my gosh, why is my mind gone blank?
Oh no.
Jose Barrios.
Oh, Toronto.
Yeah.
He's only got 2 years left on his deal?
I believe so. I mean, the obvious one is Logan Webb because he doesn't want to be in San Francisco. But I won't go there, San Fran.
Well, they're
fans.
competitive too.
I don't want to tick you guys off. Yes, they are competitive, but I know he doesn't want to be there. But I'm not gonna. Don't want to bring that up again just to make everyone mad.
Yeah, Joey says David Festa is chilling in AAA from Minnesota. That's a guy he would love to see. That would be something interesting. Tom also said here, Skeens is the pitcher with the third most pitches thrown in Major League Baseball this year, and he throws 100 plus. Yes, Joey, we know David Festa is Italian. Thank you for that. It's also why he asks, is that why he's such a bad GM? Because he drinks too much of it.
Sorry, another thing about Skeens, by the way. Did you guys know today his outing? He threw. Let me just. Oh boy, it did not. I mean, I knew we were poo-pooing on the White Sox today, and I'm really doing this for Pirates fans to just be pissed off more at their ownership. He is the first player ever to post as a starting pitcher. He is the first ever to go 8 innings, give up 1 earned run or less, have 9 strikeouts, and still lose.
Sounds very Pittsburgh.
That's Pittsburgh, and it's I hate it. I hate it for Paul Skeens. I even hate it for Pittsburgh's fans because I love that place, and that place should have a good baseball team. But here they are, and just another thing to add on.
I agree. Tom likes your deep Barrios pull, and other Tom here says Freddie Peralta.
That's a good one too. I just don't see Milwaukee working with us.
In division tax, I think is what they would call that one. That price package would be a little higher for the Cubs than it would be for anybody else. All right, gentlemen. Well, after opening that can of worms,
good job.
Turn it over to each of you for some final thoughts before we go ahead and give me some gist on the Miami series as well as part of your final thoughts here. What are we feeling? What's the temperature in the room as we lead into another 3-game set starting on Monday down in Miami?
Well, they just recently saw them, so I'm hoping that they have a good feel for them, and they could just go out there and keep up this offensive performance. The starting pitching can stay strong, and they could just win the series. Just keep winning series. Just stack these series wins. That's all that matters, honestly. And are we giving our final thoughts as well, just in general?
Yeah.
My final thought is more of a request from a former Chicago Cubs shortstop, now center fielder. I want you to go and make these dirty Redbirds' lives a living hell in this upcoming series, because the Cardinals are playing the Detroit Tigers. I want to see Baez just go off. Just go off. That's my request.
Be the Cardinal killer that you were as a
Cardinal killer. Yep.
Nick, you just want to see him hit bombs and then just take his bat all around the bases, just canoe around it. Just
100%.
I may have left Chicago, but I'm still in your minds.
Yep. 100%.
Love it.
Tyler, your final thoughts and pulse check on the series.
The offense just needs to get hot. And here's the thing. They're going into a George Foreman looking stadium, so it's already going to be warm to begin with. So if they can just, if they can bump up the temperature on that George Foreman grill that they have as a stadium, get the bats going. Give guys like Cade Horton, just let him feel comfortable up there with a big run lead. It's obviously a lot easier to pitch with the lead. Give him a lead. Give the young kid a lead, and just continue to do what you did this whole series. As far as final thought, this week starts a lot of the college baseball tournaments. If you've never watched it or you're interested in it, pull up ESPN Plus because it's so exciting. And Western Kentucky, 40 plus wins this year. One of just, I want to say, 4 teams in NCAA with 40 plus wins. Stand up and cheer. We've got the team. We've got the steam. And it starts on Wednesday against New Mexico State. We're coming for that ass Wednesday. And then you're going to see us eventually probably in Omaha. I don't want to speak too far ahead, but just this week. Pull it up. It usually starts early. And it's just a different kind of baseball. It's fun, man. It's so exciting to watch because it's so unpredictable.
It is fun. I love that shout out for anybody that isn't certain. Tyler lives very, very close to old Western Kentucky University. Tyler, I actually I passed by you on the way home from the good old
That's
ATL.
right.
And I was like, "Oh, hey, that's where Tyler lives." And
Did
I did,
you
my my
do it?
wave that I know you couldn't see, or
Did you stop at the
did
you
we stop? Of course we did.
Okay. You
Always.
got to stop at Buck. Yeah. Okay.
Always.
Okay.
Always. We stop. We
You
love Bucky
got
so
to
much. We
stop at
stopped
Bucky's when you come
twice.
through.
Oh yeah,
It's great.
Just to
I
go
love
in,
Bucky.
even if just to go in to smell the brisket.
Seriously.
Oh, yeah.
And just fresh
Those-
brisket on the board.
Fresh biscuit on the board.
Man. Love
It's
it.
fantastic. It's an experience. I highly recommend it to anybody that's out there. Gentlemen, my thoughts with the Miami series coming up. Quickly here for people at home. Monday and Tuesday are 5:40 Central Time starts. They're early games, so be on the lookout for that. Wednesday is a getaway day game, so it's a 12:10 Central Time start. This week's pitching matchups: Ben Brown versus Cabrera on Monday. Tuesday is Jameson Taillon against Weathers, who the Cubs saw in that third game at Wrigley Field, the one I attended, which of course they fucking lost, but that's neither here nor there. And then on Wednesday, it will be Max Meyer against Cade Horton. So a couple of young arms take the bump on Wednesday in that showdown. Should be good ones. I just want them to keep the momentum, build what you got on. Make it a fish fry. I know the George Foreman grill is not best for fish fries, but fry some fish in the spaceship looking thing, and we'll have ourselves a time. My true final thought, though, gentlemen, I've been stewing on this one a little bit, and I hate the Cardinals, as we all know, right? I hate the Brewers, hate them. I don't hate the Pirates. I don't hate the Pirates. I hate the Reds. I never genuinely hated the White Sox. But you know what I do hate? Large segments of their fan base. I cannot fucking stand.
Wait. Put yourself on the big. This is the Ron rant. Just
this is the Ron rant.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Make sure they all. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Just all old face in all its glory, just like this. I don't even know what I'm
100%.
doing. I'm just pushing buttons here. I don't know what we're doing here. We're just trying to see what works. There it is.
Tell us about it, Ron.
This one.
Yeah, tell us about it.
I keep my mouth shut habitually in the Cubs versus Sox series because I know who the superior team is in Chicago, and I don't feel a need to brag about it. But there is a severe case of little brother syndrome, inferior posterity, whatever you want to call it, with the fans that root for the team that plays on the south side of the city. They cannot simply do anything correct. They hate a team in their own city more than they like the actual team they root for. They cannot stand the happiness of Cubs fans because their lives are so utterly fucking miserable. And quite frankly, I at one point in time, I genuinely felt sorry for White Sox fans. I did, really did. There was empathy in my voice. And that empathy has quickly dissolved from some of the shenanigan shit that I saw these White Sox fans saying to Tyler, to others across Cubs social media over the course of the weekend. White Sox fans, I got something for you. I'm going to look in the camera for this one. You are inferior in this city. Your team sucks. Your ballpark sucks. Your owner sucks. Hell, you change one letter in your team name and it sucks. You're fucking terrible. Stop being a bunch of whiny little bitches and just go be quiet in your little fucking corner at 35th and Shields, okay? Can't fucking stand it. You know, I try to have empathy, man. I do. And then they go do this shit. And you know what I say to that? Fuck the White Sox. Because your fans are so miserable that they make Rockies fans look like they root for the greatest team on the earth. They love going to their ballpark. They put 38,000 people in that stadium with a team that might break your own poor franchise's terrible record mark that you just set last year. But their bad team can get 38,000 people in the ballpark, and the White Sox can't get 8,000 unless it's another team's fan base coming in to help Jerry pay the fucking bills. I wait for the day. I wait for the day that when Jerry passes and the family doesn't want to own the team anymore and they sell it, and some guy comes into the city owning it and goes, you know what we're going to do? We're moving them to a new city. Bye, White Sox fans. You suck. So then you don't have a baseball team. And then you can really be sad and miserable and upset. Go fuck yourselves. That's my
Damn. Wow.
I hit my breaking point with the White Sox this weekend. Genuinely.
What
And you
a
know what?
closing thought.
Good of it. They got that ass whooped this weekend, too.
They did.
PCA single-handedly outscored your whole fucking baseball team. Just remember that. Who's your daddy? PCA's your daddy. And Jerry, because he keeps you guys in fucking perpetual torture for your entire lifetimes. Sucks to suck. Anyway, gentlemen, before we wrap things up, as always, Cubs on Tap, 1 of 2 shows here at the On Tap Sports Network covering your Chicago Cubs. Be sure to follow our friends over at the Dingers Podcast. They are live on Monday nights right here on the On Tap Sports Net YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, hit the bell button, and you'll know when they go live, when we go live here at Cubs on Tap, and when everybody goes live on our platform, Bulls, Bears, Blackhawks, you know the good stuff. And again, Cubs fans, you got shitheads that like the team on the south side that you call friends. So do we. Send them to our friends, and whenever they decide that they have the dignity to record another show because their team's so bad, they can all be friends over at Sox on Tap. So you can go ahead and send them over there as well. OnTapSportsNet.com and at OnTapSportsNet on the socials. Go and check out what's on tap in Chicago sports. So it's fun, gentlemen. I feel a lot better. I don't know about you guys. I feel a lot better.
This was great.
I feel a lot better after that one. This was a good show, though. It was good to be back on the microphone with the two of you. We'll be back after Tuesday's game against Miami. So we'll have 2 games to talk about on Tuesday evening. Then we'll be back on the off day again on Thursday. They'll be reflecting on the end of that Miami series and then looking ahead to 3 games in Cincy, where Tyler will be on site on Saturday. It's also Memorial Day weekend, so we'll talk in a little bit more depth about that and all the good stuff that comes with that as well. Gentlemen, what do you say? We get out of there how it Cubs on Tap?
Boys, we've spent this whole episode poo-pooing on the White Sox, but don't forget there's another team that we like to take a humongous dump on at the end of every episode. Fun fact, this afternoon there was a tweet from some stupid Cardinals fan base that said, you guys can have Jackson Churio. You guys can have PCA. There's only one Jordan Walker. Well, guess what? Jordan Walker has a negative 0.5 WAR. He has a 189 batting average and a 528 OPS. I'll wipe my ass with that. And that's just another reason to say F the Cardinals.
Do you agree, Nick?
Yeah, fuck the Cardinals.
Yeah, we'll say fuck the Marlins too, as Jay says here. Oh, and fuck the White Sox, by the way, because as always. And what else? Oh, yeah, and let's go Cubbies.
Let's go Cubbies.